First of all, we need to talk about picking your fruit. For beginners, I recommend using lemons and limes because these fruits have a tougher, sturdier skin that's easier to sew on, and it will also hold its shape better when you're finished. When you're at the store shopping for the right fruit for your project, you want to pick one with a good coloring and a good shape. You also don't want to pick a fruit that is too ripe because then the skin will be too squishy and it won't hold its shape very well when you're finished. Now it's time to go over what supplies you'll need to follow along with this tutorial. You'll need a knife, a pair of scissors, a spoon, a pair of tweezers, but these are optional, stuffing, embroidery floss or thread, needles, and borax for drying the fruit skins. First step, now that we're ready to start our taxidermy, is to slice the fruit in half. After you're done slicing it, it's time to scoop out the inside flesh from the skin. I recommend you go around the edge of the fruit skin with a knife to loosen the fruit flesh from the skin. Next, you should take your spoon and scoop and scrape the fruit flesh out of the skin. If you want, you can save the larger chunks of fruit to use in a smoothie or something so they don't go to waste. Now it's time to wash the fruit skins in the sink to get rid of any stickiness, and you can also squeeze out any leftover juice. After that, you should use a paper towel to dry off the fruit skins. Now you'll want to give yourself a clean workspace. Now we'll use the borax to dry out the skins even more. To avoid a mess, I like to do this in a plastic bag. Just cover the fleshy part of the fruit in the borax and let it sit for a few hours. Now dump the borax back into the bag and then go over to a trash can to shake off any leftover borax. Now it's time to sew. This is the trickiest part, so don't get discouraged if you find it difficult. Thread your needle and tie a knot in the end of your thread. Now you'll just sew the two pieces together with a standard whip stitch. Once you're about 2/3 around the fruit, you'll need to add the stuffing. When you're adding the stuffing, you should pack it fairly tightly. Now go back to sewing around the last bit of the fruit using your whip stitch. When you get to the end, tie a knot and cut the leftover thread. Next, use your needle to tuck the tail end of the thread back into the fruit. And now you're done. Thanks so much for watching. See you next week.